Today we will be exploring the life of a second grader named Joe. To begin, we will be giving you a background on Joe's condition. Joe has dyslexia but has not yet been diagnosed. His teacher, Mrs. Keyes, notices that Joe struggles when he is facing a reading activity on his own, but thrives in the area of listening and illustrating. This is a common problem for students with dyslexia because they have amazing verbal skills, whereas their nonverbal skills, such as writing and reading, suffer. Dyslexia is when students have trouble with decoding and get letters mixed around and out of order. Students with dyslexia also struggle with spelling. It is difficult for students with dyslexia to concentrate on understanding the text because it takes so much effort for them to read at the same time. Dyslexia is a condition that students cannot outgrow. While dyslexia is a condition that slows learning in some students, it is a condition that many students strive. Okay, students, time to get Charlie and the Chocolate Factory out. Let's get our books and form a circle on the ground so you can read with your partners. Thank you so much for getting your books out, kids. Okay, so last class we read about how Charlie and his grandpa went to the factory and were about to enter the store with Mr. Wonka. Let's start on page 56. Turn to your partner and begin reading. Joe, remember you are with Susan and Billy for your group. You three read aloud together and take turns.
I'll begin. Charlie followed Mr. Wonka.
It's okay. I'll cut it out.
I'll begin. Charlie followed Mr. Wonka down a long hallway to a tiny little door.
As soon as Susan continued to read, Joe did not follow along because it was difficult. He looked around the room and didn't pay attention to where his partners were at in the book.
All right, Joe, it's your turn now.
What page are we on?
Page 58, Joe, come on.
Okay. Willy wonk skipped. What is that word?
You should sound it out. Try taking the first part and covering up the second part like this. Now you can read the first part. Then move it over and read the second part. Then you put them together. It's easy.
Oh.
Joe looked blankly at his page, unsure of what his classmate had meant by her instructions. He could not see the page like she could, and the letters were all out of order. Joe stared at his page for a few moments before looking up blankly at Susan.
Oh, all right, Joe. The word is bouncily. He was skipping bouncily. That means he was kind of hopping or jumping or something. Try and keep going.
Done.
Down.
Down. Hallway. What is that word?
Annoyed with Joe, Billy turned his head and started talking to Susan. Just then, Mrs. Key came over to check on the students. Okay, students, as you know, today is our test over the first half of the book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We've spent the last few days reviewing, so this should all be familiar. Also, it is multiple choice. We love that, don't we? That means we just have to decide which answer is correct. Okay, let's clear off our desks and begin. I will read the questions aloud and you can follow along. Question number 1. Who did Charlie invite to come to the factory with him? Question number 2. Where did Charlie find his golden ticket? As Mrs. Key continued reading the questions of the multiple choice test, Joe slowly began stopping paying attention because he could not read the multiple choice answers by himself. Joe, pay attention. We are on question number 6.
Yes, Mrs. Key.
He's not awake. Question 6. What was the name of the girl who liked to chew gum? After seeing Joe's off-task behavior again, Mrs. Key decided to go over and guide him through the questions by pointing to them as she went for a couple questions. This seemed to be working, and Joe began answering the questions himself. But after Mrs. Key walked away, Joe began staring off into space again, unable to keep up with his teacher. Okay, students, I'll collect your tests now. Thank you for doing a good job of following along with me. Now we are going to do a writing activity. Everyone get your writer's notebook. For this activity, I want each of you to write a sentence or two and illustrate it. You should spend equal time on both parts, if not a little more time on the sentences. The students then began to color their pages, illustrating the sentences they were going to create.
This is my favorite part.
Joe continued to stay on task during the entire drawing time. Okay, students, you should be switching to your pencils and beginning to write your sentences now. At this point, Joe chose to ignore his teacher and continued to draw. He always got frustrated when trying to write on his own because his spelling was poor and he could not get out the words he was trying to say. He continued to color and missed the entire writing portion of the activity. Okay, students, for math today, I am going to get you into groups of 3 and you will work on a few word problems and then we will talk about them as a class. Joe, you will be working with Susan and Janie. Here are your worksheets. Okay, you have less than 20 minutes to finish these 8-word problems.
Okay, problem 1. Do you guys want to just read these out loud first? Sure, I'll go first. Problem number 1. Juan has 12 candies, and he wants to share them with his 2 friends, Sarah and Tom. Each person will have the same number of candies. How many candies do Juan, Sarah, and Tom each get? I'm not sure how to start this. How are you going to solve the problem, Joe? Joe!
Oh, sorry. What?
Do you know how to do this problem?
Not yet. I just need to read it again.
Okay. I don't think I know how to do it. Let's draw 12 candies, then group them into 3 equal groups, and we will have our answer. Oh, duh, Joe, any other ideas?
Oh, what?
Joe!
Oh, what?
Is it okay with you if we solve the problem this way?
I don't know. I'm not done reading the problem yet.
Don't worry about it. We just figured it out. Can you just read the next problem?
Sure.
Read out loud, Joe.
Read out loud, Joe.
Oh, sorry. Well, Billy, do you want to read it?
No, it's okay. It's your turn.
Okay, sure. Okay. Did they know what's to take?
Solved it! Me too.
Groups have 5 minutes to finish their worksheets. How is this group doing?
Good, but we still have 6 problems left.
Okay, well, what are you guys having trouble with?
Nothing, it's just some team members are working really slow.
Oh, well, okay, just keep working, no dawdling. You will have 5 minutes to finish. In today's lesson, we are going to be focusing on writing about our favorite memory this summer. I want you to remember all the important components of a writing sentence. Capitalization, period, spelling, nouns, verbs, other important parts. So,
How long do our writings need to be, Mrs. Key?
oh, they need to be 2 paragraphs, more than 4 paragraphs. Let me know if any questions. 20 minutes pass. Now I want you to give your papers to the person sitting to your right and read with your partner's writing.
Mrs. Key, Joe's writing doesn't make sense. His writing does not flow, and I can't even figure out what some of these words are.
Mrs. Keat goes over to Joe. Joe, what is going on here?
Nothing.
Oh, can you tell me what you're writing about?
About my favorite memory from the summer.
I know that, but what favorite memory? What is it? Can you read me what you wrote?
My favorite memory is when I went and spent the summer at my mama's house and played outside all day. That is not what that says, Mrs. Key. He is lying to you. No, I'm not. That is what it says.
That's not what it looks like, Joe!
Yes, it is.
Okay, Janie, that's not very nice to accuse him of lying. Joe, let's go talk by my desk.
Okay.
Now, Joe, do you feel comfortable writing?
Kinda. Why?
Well, I just noticed some things about writing that concern me. For starters, your spelling is all jumbled and your writing is out of sequence.
I don't understand.
How about you write a sentence about what you have for lunch today?
Okay.
Now read to me what you have.
It says, yesterday I had chicken fingers, chips, and a Pepsi for lunch.
Well, from now what I see your writing is not what it says. I am actually having a hard time reading it due to your words being out of order and your spelling being off. Has anyone ever confronted you about dyslexia?
No, but I think my mom has that.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, now I want to let you know in advance I'm going to call your parents. You are not in trouble. I just want to talk to them about the possibility of you being tested for dyslexia. This may explain your issues with sequencing and spelling in your writing. Is that okay with you?
Yes, but what does that mean?
It just means you have trouble decoding, which means your brain processes information differently. A few days later, after Mrs. Key talked to Joe's mom and dad. Once you are finished with your writing, I want you all to come over and sit on the rug. Students wander over one at a time. Joe, what are you still doing over there?
You said when we were finished with our writing to come sit over here. I'm not done yet.
Well, you can finish that up later, Joe. I need you to come over and sit with the rug so we can get started. Joe walks over. Who can tell me here what we've been working on in our reading poem? Readings.
Poem!
Very good, Billy. We have been reading different poems. I thought today I would read you guys a poem before we got started. I'm going to read Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. It goes like this. There is a place where the sidewalk ends and before the street begins, and the grass grows soft and white, and the sun burns crimson bright, and the moon bird rests his flight to cool in the peppermint wind. Can any of you guys guess what is going on right here in this poem?
I picture a wide open pasture out in the country.
Very good, Joe. What makes you think of that?
Well, you talked about there being no street or sidewalk and lots of grass, so it made me think of an open pasture.
You hear that, class? Joe listened to what I was saying and imagined it in his head and was able to tell me what he thought it was. Good job, Joe. Let's continue. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and watch where their chalk white arrows go to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go that the chalk white arrows go. For the children they mark, and the children they know the place where the sidewalk ends. The class discusses the poem more. Now I want you to go back to your seats and we'll come around and pass out a paper with a poem on it for you to read and to answer some questions about. Joe, can you come here a second? I'm going to have you listen to a recording of the poem for you to have for this assignment. Okay?
Okay, but why?
Well, I know you struggle with reading sometimes, and sometimes you are focused on decoding the words, and it's hard for you to focus on what the text means. So I don't want you to have to worry about it. So just listen and answer the questions. I want you to understand what the poem is saying.
Thank you. That will be very helpful.